we're going to see a grand coalition in the next parliament because of the squeezing of the centre and forcing the two big groups to work together more than they have done in the past. Secondly, I always say that we see a long shadow of the government in Berlin on the European Parliament. We see a grand coalition in Berlin has a big influence on the two biggest groups in the parliament because of the size of the CDU and the size of the SPD delegations in those two groups. And the instinct from Berlin, when there's a grand coalition in Berlin, is to get the European Parliament also to do business. The Parliament will also, from the get-go, and the issue of the Commission President, have to think about a grand coalition deal. One of them gets one, the other one gets the other one. And you may say that, on the one hand, it's good for European politics, they can actually get some things done. On the other hand, I'm tempted to agree with you that it's very easy for the protest groups to say, see, we told you, these elections didn't make any difference. Europe is run by the big guys behind closed doors, in the pocket of big business, in the pocket of big labour unions. This is the kind of narrative you get from the radical populist right, particularly. And it's very easy for them to blame then to make that claim.
Again, in places like Greece, in places perhaps even like Portugal, where the effects of bailout programs and quite radical policy shifts are reshuffling the political spectrum, and it's no longer about clear left-right divisions as we knew them. We could then begin to see a shift between anti-establishment, anti-integration parties and pro. And it was very interesting, actually. The Greek Prime Minister, Antonis Samaras, who is a conservative, was giving a press conference with Martin Schulz, who's a socialist, obviously. The one said, we'll win the elections, then realized that the guy sitting next to him wasn't part of the we. The other one said, no, we'll win the elections. And then Samaras said, well, let me correct myself. We, as pro-EU, pro-integration parties, will win the elections. So already you're seeing this emerging rhetoric, which I think could be permanent after the elections.
How will the voters react to a grand coalition in Germany? Will they perceive the grand coalition is doing well, or will they perceive in 12 weeks it's doing badly, and then you'll see votes going to the Greens and Linke on the left and going to the Alternative for Deutschland on the right and the FDP? I can imagine right now, by the time we get to the election, the two biggest parties doing worse than the current poll standings in Germany. In Italy, another big member state, are the voters going to react to Renzi as the new prime minister? Will he have a honeymoon period and perceived to be doing very well, and then the PDs are going to do very well in the European elections? Or will he immediately hit a roadblock and it be a disaster, and you can see a collapse in support, and Berlusconi now campaigning strongly against him, and then you can see a swing against? We don't know. So these are the kind of uncertainties between now and the events that can happen between now and the elections that can influence the outcome. Watch the big 6 member states as the key thing.